let's spar.
Nice.
Well, here we go. My podcast guest with us today is Moataz Salama, what I call my big little cousin. At some point along the way, my little cousin got bigger than me. And my guest always goes first. So the advantage of going first or choosing, you can choose to go second if you want, but you get to choose. The advantage of going first is you get to speak your own conscience. So if you actually have a strong feeling about the topic, you can choose how you actually feel about it by going first. And you get 1 minute to build up your case. I will respond for 1 minute, the opposite of whatever you said. I'll spend 1 minute uninterrupted building up my case. And the third minute is what we call the sparring match. And that's where we get to then question each other, interrupt each other, and so on.
Gotcha.
Okay? So 2 minutes of controlled speaking, building up cases, case construction, and 1 minute of sparring. All right. Well, let's take a look at the first topic. Where's my clock? It keeps disappearing on me. Oh, is it hiding behind? Ah, there it is. Okay, hang on. All right. First round. Superhero movies. They have been, I guess, what I know about is the very first superhero movie, I believe, was a movie called The Green Hornet that had Bruce Lee as the sidekick. And so that's one of the kind of the feathers in Bruce Lee's hat. And he was in the very first superhero movie genre. And after that, they gave him his own movies as a leading man. But since then, superhero movies have been just prolific, ubiquitous. Almost every movie out there is a superhero movie. And they've built entire empires and industry on this concept. And the question is, should superhero movies be banned? Do you want to go first or second on this one?
You know what? I think I'm going to go second because
You're feeling ambivalent? All right. I don't even know which way I'm going to go, but I guess I'll have to choose. So should superhero movies be banned? I'm going to say yes. Come on, enough is enough. I think we all know why superhero movies have become so ubiquitous and just nonstop. Every movie is a superhero movie, can't avoid them. I think it's because the industry figured out it's a giant cash grab. And so I think that some people who are proponents for superhero movies will say, oh, the kids need a hero and a role model and someone to look up to. But guess what? There's plenty of people to look up to in the world, and they don't get enough credit. Like who's the person who came up with the cure for this disease, or who's the person that solved this problem? Nobody knows, but we all know Superman and Spider-Man, and so it's almost like a false idol. I think enough is enough. Let's start making movies about real people and bring light to regular everyday heroes, our unsung heroes, and let the children look up to them. So I think we need it's time to shift the focus from this unviable superheroes to regular people. But you would disagree?
Yeah, I would disagree because I think the modern day, I hate to call it a distraction, is through movies. I think that, if you look at the history, all this chaotic stuff that's real world happening in the politicians' world with countries not negotiating and famine and there's earthquakes, all of this stuff is happening. And the only thing that people feel comfort in doing is sitting at their homes and watching a movie that they enjoy so they can dissociate from their real lives. And superheroes give them that moment of, comfort. They get to watch a hero come out and save the day. And at the end of the day, people just want that kind of warm, fuzzy feeling. And if it's,
I get what you're saying, but should we be sitting at home feeling comforted and avoiding disassociating ourselves from the real world? You said yourself, the world is on fire. The world needs us to focus on the problems and not keep escaping from them. Don't you think?
I think, but at the same sense, I think there's a lot of people that just don't either want to be bothered or just it's not happening in their backyard. So why am I dealing with it?
But doesn't it send out the kind of bad message to kids? Like, why are we idolizing these this idea that one man can save the world and just strap on a suit and kill everybody? And is
Well,
this the right idea?
you're right, but I truly believe that there are some real life superheroes, and I've seen it. I've seen lifeguards, fire people, police officers that really have done some extraordinary step out of their
I
regular
just
line
wish
of
they
work.
would give I wish they would give independent movie makers a bigger budget to explore those deeper ideas and most
Yes,
profound things. Because it seems like all the money goes to these superhero movies.
yes.
Anyway, it's kind of a silly topic, but like, who really cares? But I just from an industry point of view, I do believe the quality of movies in Hollywood has been going down
Oh yeah.
because it's just so much emphasis on these superhero movies and the $300 million budgets to do yet one more Hulk movie.
It's less of the story I find, and more of the CG. Is that what it's called? CG.
Yeah,
The
computer
effects.
graphics and
Yeah,
effects.
it's kind of like people are drawn more to what they see than what they feel. And I get a certain sense from certain movies how I feel. The actor made me feel a certain way, and that was an impactful movie to me.
Agreed. But again, I think this is another problem with this environment that we're living on, where basically truth is under attack and people don't know what's true anymore. And this is even compounded by deep fakes, and nobody can trust anything they see or hear on the internet anymore. So maybe we should be moving away from how we feel, because how we feel can so easily be manipulated. And we should
Well,
only
I like what you just said because it reminds me that if you're going to talk to that one aunt in your family that just seems to distort that or embellish what just happened, what do you normally do to critically analyze that information? Sometimes you just simply don't talk to her anymore because you know it's not reliable. So if that's the case, maybe we should sideline the internet.
round two. The question is, should dating techniques be taught in school? Do you want to go first or second on this one?
I guess I'll go first.
All right, whenever you're ready.
It's about time that a very needed, basic, everybody goes through it situation should actually be institutionalized. In other words, there's so many different techniques, I guess, currently going on right now when you're talking about dating. The current dating model right now needs to be looked at. It is called the internet dating. It is with websites. It is with live call-in chats. It's a billion-dollar industry because it served a need, and that need was to connect to people that normally wouldn't have connected in a normal pretense world because some people are busy, some people just don't know where the single people are. So these internet sites have provided a need. But one thing, once you bring two people to an internet site, they have no clue how to talk to each other.
I get what you're saying. Your point is well taken, and I agree with you. There is a total need to navigate this murky world of dating in this with all these changes taking place in internet dating, and kids must be so confused, right? And in the old days, people were way more connected and they had face-to-face skills. It must be so hard to meet people. I think the entire generation Z has a loneliness problem. They don't know how to be intimate. They don't know how to contact. But the problem with teaching dating in school is who's going to teach it? Which teacher? And how's it going to be consistent across the board for every class? And are we just going to have people, enforcing their own views on kids? It seems to me like matter of the heart. It's not mathematics or science. It's a matter of the heart. And I think a lot of parents will find a problem with some rando in the classroom telling kids how they feel about dating. So how is this going to be a school course? I think maybe parents should be the ones talking to their kids about it. But you would disagree.
I would disagree because I think that some parents are destructive in their own relationships. So could they actually lend a hand to how this dating technique can be taught? I mean, I am in my 50s, so naturally I have teenage children. And one of them in specific is my teenage daughter, who is going through
All right.
a dating phase.
So does your daughter want you talking to her about dating techniques?
No,
I think maybe parents are not the best candidates. So,
I
but
agree.
neither are teachers. So maybe kids
Well,
can seek out other kids or each other, or just trial by error in order to improve their dating techniques.
there's one thing that I remember, and that was when my daughter came home and told me that her law teacher told her she was now 16 and was legally allowed to have sex. And that just threw me for a loop. So, yeah, I think some concerns can be that what is being taught in school can go against the how the child was raised. I get it. But I mean, like you said, they're not going to listen to the parents anyway. Maybe somebody else with a collared shirt on would tell
Yeah,
them how to date.
I mean, in fairness, they teach sex ed at school. That's part of gym class. So that's part of the gym teacher's wheelhouse. They have to talk about sexual education.
Yes, they
And
do.
so, why are we talking about dating like it's some sort of faux pas?
I,
Dating is much lighter than that. Like, why not lend some perspective to kids who've never dated from an adult who has dated?
well, how about this? We give our child to somebody else with a motored vehicle and tell them to teach them how to drive, which is
Yeah,
a lot more significant than dating. It's
yeah. And
you're
how
you're
about
in a
this? I remember in the house that I grew up in Scarborough, our neighbor's son killed himself. He sat in a car and put on the exhaust and killed himself because of I guess a relationship gone wrong, a girl that didn't love him anymore. And so how many people have to deal with that heartache and suffering from some crazy, because somebody was so jaded and misguided and didn't know how to handle a situation in their relationship that they end up doing something crazy like that. So I wonder if we had sort of a set of rules or a set of like principles to go by, or being able to see the pitfalls around the corner, if we can avoid things like that.
I yeah, I mean that's just messed up. I mean, maybe if they understood or was talking to the right people at the right time, they would realize that this is not the end. It's just the beginning of something better for them.
But I think the best argument in favor of teaching it at schools, I think, is this idea that, it's kids already are impassioned. They lead with their heart, and not with their brain. And so here we are in this area of life that's all about heart and passion. And kids also have a sense of, or a tendency to think every problem they have is the worst problem in the world, and they don't see that it's going to get better and next tomorrow it'll look different. So
Yeah,
when you add those two things together, it's like a recipe for disaster.
yeah.
And there's a need to guide them and let them know, hey, it gets better, and don't worry, this is not who you are, it's just who you are today. Round three, Moataz. Should the billionaire class be allowed to exist? You want to go first or second on this?
I can go on this one.
Right.
My answer to that is no. They should not. I think that a billionaire is a person that has completely negotiated properly, I guess, the best means to maximize earnings at the behest or at the expense of thousands or millions. In other words, the more money that individual has made, that means they have exploited the most amount of people to get there. Just understand something, that these people that have billions of dollars don't need $1 billion to be the person they are. They don't. But by funneling so much money to a small percentage of the people with billions of dollars just means 97, 96%.
I got you. Okay, but not allowing a billionaire class of people to exist basically means putting a restriction or a cap on their ambition. Should we be doing that on people's success? We build up a democracy. We're very proud of it, and the whole point of a democracy or a free market economy and capitalism, the system of money within a democracy, is to give people opportunity to climb the ladder, to follow their dreams, to pursue their ambition. And so if somebody does this super well and successfully, and because we can't, why are we then like boo-hooing someone who can? If we were them, we would happily do it, and we wouldn't want anyone restricting us. So why would we turn around and restrict someone else? It's kind of like that's the incentive, that's the motivation. So we could all become billionaires if we just put our nose down, work hard, figure out a way. And then when we crack the code, we don't want someone coming up and closing the door on us. But you would disagree.
I would disagree because I really don't think that anybody making more than sustenance, food, shelter, clothing, is necessary. I don't think though. That excess is not necessary. That excess causes behaviors to be deviant. That excess.
But by that logic, Moataz, even in our rudimentary lives, a lot of what we do is excessive and not necessary. So should we cut that out? Should we just all go to pioneer days and only do what's absolutely necessary?
Possibly. That way, the good of the wealth, our resources are spread out, not just collaborated on one small little segment.
But you said that billionaires exploit people in order to become billionaires, but don't they also provide jobs? Don't they also like cure AIDS like Bill Gates Foundation?
They provide jobs that are called jobs, just over broke.
I'm completely with you on this topic. I'm surprised you chose that side, Mo. I really am. I thought you were going to say, yeah, the billionaire class. I was ready to go your side, and I had
I don't
to
know,
take.
man. I mean, I think that class is clearly the most corrupt. I don't think that the criminals that have nothing, the poor, are doing half as much as what this class is doing and getting away with it. I think so.
Yeah, you know, I always say to my students, there's only so much money in an economy. They don't print extra money for the billionaires. You know what I mean? There's only so much marbles in the bowl. And if the billionaires have like 9 out of 10 of them, all the rest of us have to scratch and claw for that one left over. And that's what creates suffering. And you could argue that, you know, the homeless class exists because of the billionaire class. And then you can further that thinking into saying, so the onus is on the billionaire class to solve the homeless problem. Because we know the government isn't doing it.
The way I look at it is it's a giant dam. You have a dam, a big wall, and you have a huge amount of water called the billionaire class. And then you have something like puddles on the bottom, scraping for the ability to just have their basic needs met. So when you look at it in that analogy, yeah, that dam needs to break.
Yeah. The other thing is, and we see the examples and the evidence so clearly in America, that the billionaire class, like you said, you don't need billions of dollars to live an amazing, lavish life. You can do that with millions of dollars.
You can do that with millions.
But, so what do you do when you're a multi-billionaire? The game now becomes about rigging the system, about owning the politicians, about controlling the whole system.
Once you've got a security on your money, now you're like, well, I don't have to work anymore. I have all this oodles of time. Let me think.
But that's why the money can make more money, is because now the billionaires can own the politicians, both sides of the house, and whoever wins is going to vote in favor of their corporate masters, the billionaire class, cut their taxes, ensure that they become even richer. Yes. And so now the whole system is rigged in their favor. And so it's not fair to all the rest of us. And it just drives me nuts. It drives me nuts when people say billionaires deserve because they work so hard. Well, guess what, people? We all work hard, and none of us have any chance of becoming a billionaire.
No.
And so
it was not designed. They were never planning on sharing it with you. That's the key. So you
And we
brought
shouldn't
up a
have to
point.
rely on their benevolence to solve one of our problems. That money should be doled out to the governments
You
whose
said that they
job it
offered
is
us
to solve our
jobs.
problems.
I like that saying. They offered us jobs to make sure their interests are met. In other words, you ever seen the pay scale of what an average person makes? Say, I don't know, on an 8-hour day, they've made $100. But the efforts of what they did for that company, say they were working at, like, I don't know, a car plant, the efforts that they did made the company $400, but they were compensated $100. So that means the $350 $300 now went to the company. So when that needed labor is gone, can the company make $300? No, they needed that person. So they sold it to you as, hey, listen, we're going to give you a salary enough enough for you to come back every 2 weeks needing another salary. That's why it's called just over broke, because they don't give you enough to live on your own and start your own business. No, they don't give you too little that you can't feed yourself. They give you just enough to
And they're
cover back.
always cracking down on unions. Those billionaires and Amazon, they won't let anyone to organize and create a union to protect the labor force. They give them minimum wage. And I heard that Amazon is so cheap that they won't even turn on the air conditioning in their plants, and people are passing out under those conditions of work, making
Yeah,
minimum wage.
this
It
is
just
precisely
seems
why I
so
said that
obnoxious.
the billionaires are billionaires because they've exploited the working class.
All right, a point of agreement. Let's move on.